comedians.
And this is SpongeBob Season 2, Part 2.
We are so proud of you guys for your undying support of our last videos and how much you gave to our other videos that just...
Yeah, we're so proud.
And we would appreciate you liking and subscribing and even commenting if you want.
You guys deserve the world. And that's what we're going to give you with our Season 2, Part 2 list of SpongeBob.
Number 20 is SpongeBob, Sandy, and the Worm. This one deserves to be at the higher end of the list. For the reason is I can't really remember any character being used badly, and even Mr. Krabs, who I normally am on the fence about, was really good in this episode. And SpongeBob and Sandy, it showed their dynamic and showed how good they could be playing off each other, and even Patrick, who just pushed the town. I mean, the episode was done brilliantly, and I don't think there's anyone who hasn't made a meme of this episode. So that's why it's up here.
Number 19 on the list is Squidville. I gotta say, even though this is a main character for Squidward episode, and it kind of shows just from the title alone, I feel like this is a really good, heartfelt story in general. It's like, alright, you get everything you want in life, and you do it every single day, but you come to get bored of it because it wasn't your traditional way of doing things. It is a very deep and, thought-provoking episode if you really think about Squidward's way of doing things in general. SpongeBob and Patrick through this episode were amazing too, just trying to figure out where Squidward is, and then them just annoying the town, while Squidward just goes crazy after realizing it's not where he belongs. It's an amazing episode, and
really shows through the psychoanalysis of everything that happens through Squidward.
Number 18 is Artist Unknown, and I guess you have to draw a perfect circle for this one. It was just that good, and to show that you can do so much with only really the two characters shows how good the season is, and by proximity, how good the show is overall. How wonderful they are together, and just that it can just be them. Squidward has always been one of my favorite characters, and yeah, I don't think that this one could have gone any better than it did.
Number 17 on the list, Squid's Day Off. Now, this is a fantastic episode. I absolutely love this episode. Would I say it's a little short? Yeah. But you know what? It's still a good episode. Squidward just running back and forth between his home and to work to see if SpongeBob is blowing up the Krusty Krab or making the Krusty Krab burnt or on fire by any means necessary. It's so funny, and at the end of the episode he's just crazy and shown that he's crazy because SpongeBob actually takes perfect care of the Krusty Krab, and Squidward decided to make SpongeBob in charge of the Krusty Krab. But the fact he was so focused on the Krusty Krab while he was at home to where he was actually just taking care of the Krusty Krab in general when he was supposed to be relaxing, taking the day off, that was extremely funny. And it just shows how much care he actually thinks about the Krusty Krab.
Number 16 is Squid on Strike. This one is a great episode. Again, Squidward has always been one of my favorite characters. It actually gives them a way to play off him that I think is amazing. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of Mr. Krabs, how it plays out for him is great. And the SpongeBob being the one that destroys the Krusty Krab, and after the contracts are signed, Mr. Krabs actually needs them is a great point of the episode. The only thing I think that might have held this episode back a little bit was the very beginning. That was the only thing that if I wanted them to have more jokes in the beginning, kind of slowed it down a little bit. But besides that, it was a great episode.
Hello, sir. Is this your wallet?
Nope.
Are you sure this isn't your wallet?
Nope.
This is your ID, right?
Yep.
And all of this is safe here, inside this wallet right here.
Makes sense to me.
Alright, so take it.
It's not my wallet.
Ah!
Number 15 is Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy number 3. To think about these two that are no longer with us is sad. It's Tim Conway. Man Ray is actually probably their best villain as far as the show progression. This one that introduced him and had this amazing first episode for him, I cannot imagine them doing any better. And I even love the ending with the tickle belt.
Ravioli, give me the formioli. Or give me the next episode on this list, Imitation Crabs. Number 14 on this list. Such a good episode. Just has one of Plankton's best ideas to, make crabs again when he's gone. So that he can take charge of the other people working at the Krusty Krab with Squidward and SpongeBob, telling Squidward to take the day off and telling SpongeBob to tell him the formula. But there's a whole bunch of ways that the formula is just needed to be given to the boss. It is so hilarious, and I love Plankton, so this just makes this episode even better. Robot crabs versus regular crabs, and robot crabs won, and the regular crabs gets put on the side with butter. Think about that for a second and tell me that isn't the best idea for an episode.
Number 13 will be Patty Hype. Oh, if you're a theorist, you know this one. Because apparently there are theories that this is the final episode of the series. Which is interesting. Which actually just makes me like this episode more. Him ending up with the Krusty Krab. Now, if you're not, it's still a great episode. It's still amazingly written. Again, Mr. Krabs, who is usually I'm on the fence about, I'm okay with him in this one because there's some level of he tries to scheme, but he gets punished for it, so it's okay. It's a level of having an awareness of the situation, and I have always liked this episode, especially with the plaid Scottish person fish. And this is why I like this episode.
Hi, Kevin. I'm your biggest fanatic. The next episode on number 12. And there's a whole lot of memes that go on with this episode. SpongeBob being just a simp to Kevin is so funny. And then Kevin tries to trick him into getting hurt. Do you want me to get hurt, Kevin? And then ends up getting hurt himself until SpongeBob saves them and Kevin in general, and then he becomes part of his club. This is such a big underdog story for SpongeBob, and such a big, Mr. Krabs moment for Kevin, where, this guy making fun of him is, getting what he deserves, and then he's actually seeing the heroes you know what? You are right. Or, as they say in English, 11, Frankendoodle. amazing thought for an episode, and an amazing execution for an episode. Random artist just drops the pencil, and SpongeBob draws out what it wants to prank Squidward with, which was in his mind to begin with. It's not usually what SpongeBob would think, but like he annoys Squidward so much that he kind of knows like I'm gonna pull a little prank on Squidward because it'll be so funny. It's just a great episode, and then SpongeBob again getting this great hero moment with Patrick, like helping him defeat the evil Doodle. Just a great episode. Fantastic in every way. Next up on number 10, this is what I'll say is my favorite episode of Season 2, Big Pink Loser, where Patrick tries to get a trophy by any means necessary. This is a holy episode. Not just because SpongeBob's in it, and he's filled with holes. No, freaking just Patrick trying to do so many things just to try to get a trophy, and like doing the simplest things, thinking he'll get a trophy, and then he ends up with a trophy just because he doesn't do anything. That is such an amazing episode, and it's just such an amazing idea that takes several levels of thinking to get to, and it's like fantastic. And I couldn't even think of a better episode than that within this season that just does that. Sure, there are other episodes on this list that are above this, but this takes a personal one to my heart. Number 9 of this list is Christmas. Wait, Christmas who? Number 9 on this list, Christmas Who. Amazing episode to set up a Christmas episode. And a great patchy episode. One of the best patchy episodes. With just Christmas. All Christmas. Whenever I think of Christmas, this is an episode I think about in general. And just Patrick thinking about the fact that Santa's a genie really makes you conceptualize who Santa is. And just setting up Christmas in general. With Squidward turning out to be way better of a friend to SpongeBob than he made even think. And really support his affection for SpongeBob. Such a good friend. Such a sweet guy. Even selling his own stuff to conceptualize the fact that he is Santa. This is an amazing Squidward episode. This is an amazing Christmas episode. This is an amazing patchy episode. Hey kid, are you messing with me? Well, if you want to fight, let's go at it at the Fry Cook Games. Number 8 on our list. And let me tell you, great battle between SpongeBob and Patrick when they're trying to like mix up their friendships of how they actually think of each other, but then solving their issues at the end, making their friendship even better. And doing that with Mr. Krabs and Plankton being their managers to push at each other. Because Mr. Krabs and Plankton always had this rivalry going on, and since they were friends, it goes into a much deeper aspect of it, so that when SpongeBob and Patrick fight, it's just keep going until the end, where Mr. Krabs and Plankton get mad at them for joining back together as friends. If you really think about this episode, there's so much that goes on within the relationships of SpongeBob and Patrick and Mr. Krabs and Plankton. So good. Absolutely fantastic. Like, the games in general, the fact that they won through many means necessary, and all was hilarious. Even to the fish, and they turned into fish sticks. That was hilarious. And also, cannibalism? Amazing episode with an amazing story with amazing emotion. That, again, really have to think about in order to contextualize it.
Number 7, and this is a little controversial putting it here, but Band Geeks. I love this episode, as many people do, but the next ones on the list we feel are a little bit better because the beginning of Band Geeks is a little bit weaker than the episodes coming out. But it's still a great episode. I think this is the first episode that SpongeBob is very limited in the episode. I only think he had maybe 5 or 6 real lines. And I mean, I could be wrong about that. If I am, say it in the comments. But no, I think his limitation actually showed the development of the other characters very well. And yeah. Number 6 is Secret Box. I love this episode. The whole SpongeBob actually being the antagonist, taking the episode, it really shows to see Patrick play off of that, and especially the ending. The ending was the greatest, might have been one of the best in this season, and I'm gonna say that besides that, yeah, I like this episode.
Cash bringing, the slash bringing, blast slinging, crash slinging.
Number 5 is Graveyard Shift. Graveyard Shift is one of those episodes that you're always really glad when it comes on because it is so good. And I think this is one of my favorites just of all, not just of the season. The whole thing of him trying to mess with SpongeBob and to the whole Nosferatu thing. Yeah, I can't imagine season 2's list being complete without this episode in the top 10.
Number 4 on this list. Let me tell you, there's going to be a pattern with these kind of episodes where they're talking a huge amount of death in a SpongeBob episode. And this one is very prideful on how Squidward is to SpongeBob and how much Squidward actually cares for SpongeBob in a way that, like, he didn't realize how much of his life was spent with SpongeBob before he was gonna die from pie. And the fact that the pies were actually bombs, Squidward cared so much afterwards when he figured out that they were bombs and that SpongeBob was gonna die from that. That's just one of the people that actually hate SpongeBob actually cares for him a lot more than you think. Even Patrick could have shown up in this episode and was like,
Yeah, I'll hang out with you on your last moments, but
no, Squidward decided to take all his last moments for SpongeBob because he knew nobody else besides Mr. Krabs and Squidward knew this was his last moments. How much better can that get?
Krabs is
That's your mother with that mouth.
number 3 is Sailor Mouth, and for most people this is going to be number 1. The only problem with this episode is that it's number 1 for the wrong reason. And honestly, even without the sound effects, the episode is just well done. The whole Mr. Krabs' mother storyline to the eels and escalators, it's just funny from one end to another. And sometimes a joke will be thrown in that's not as good, but this episode didn't have that weakness. The only reason that it's not number 1 on the list is because the other 2 are are the best of the season. But yeah, this episode is well loved and deservedly so.
This story is called The Ugly Barnacle. He was so ugly, everyone died. The end.
That didn't help at all.
But it helped a little bit on episode 2. Something smells. So many quotable moments like that. We stink. I'm ugly and I'm proud. I'm ugly and I'm proud. Just because this episode is phenomenal. Like SpongeBob and Patrick. SpongeBob just thinking he's ugly just because Patrick's mentioned something about it, and then all of a sudden he realized after a while, after the episode ends, that he stinks because he's eaten a creation, a horrible creation. This is just A tier list of SpongeBob season 2. So good, not quite number 1. We'll get there, but this is exactly why number 2. Just golden episode of SpongeBob. Holy matrimony for SpongeBob.
No way, Patrick. You ain't your candy bar. This is mine.
You ate my only food. Now I'm gonna starve.
Jiminy, there's a reason this is number 1. The
Number 1
trophy to best episode of season 2.
is
Life of Crime.
This is the peak episode for us because of the whole. Nothing is bad at all. It's everything is the best of where it can be, and I don't even say that for season 2. That's just SpongeBob in general. It may be one of the best episodes of all time.
They stole a balloon. That is on National Free Balloon Day. That is basically the entire plot.
But they do so much with it.
And you can't really explain it to a friend unless you just say that. You just gotta watch it for yourself.
My favorite part is always gonna be them doing where he steps on the fire and it just explodes on his foot.
Hey, if we're underwater, how is there a fire?
That was always my favorite joke, especially because Steve Hillenburg was a marine biologist and he thought that was funny, so it went in. I love that scene, and like I said, I don't think this episode has a bad scene in it, and that's where I am with this episode.
This episode was so good. Like, I wouldn't say it's my favorite episode. I even saw on your list. It wasn't on your favorite.
It wasn't my.
We were just compared. Once it was compared,
Yeah.
this just became the first episode because it was just so good. It matches to the point of
Well, I think it was number 2 for me, and it was number 3 for you. So
yeah.
But besides that,
It was just high on both our lists.
yeah, and I think most people do put it up in their top 5.
And I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah, it's very well done, and it's amazing to have it on this list here.
It was such a good episode.
So that's our list of season 2, and I really enjoyed doing this.
I enjoy this a lot. Just ranking SpongeBob episodes, because I love SpongeBob and always have been a SpongeBob fan ever since I was like 4 or 5.
Because if you have something to rank or something you want us to do, please leave it in the comments. Whether it's SpongeBob, whether it's other shows, no matter what it is, we will look into it. And we hope you have a good day and keep watching, liking, and subscribing.
In fact, to be completely honest, the SpongeBob movie came out on my birthday.
Yeah.
Well, birth year. But still, it shows how much of an impact SpongeBob made on me.
Yeah.
And how much an impact you guys made on us.
Yeah.
So please take care, subscribe, like, do whatever you're following. And love you guys. Take care, Alchemedians.